Donald Trump was spending all of last night raging and talking about prosecuting his political enemies. Add to the list of his political enemies Dick Cheney, who came out endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris on Friday, and now Donald Trump is calling Dick Cheney a rhino. Well, when you call Dick Cheney a rhino, kind of loses all meaning at that point, doesn't it? Here's what Donald Trump was posting last night. Here's an exemplar of the many posts like this. He writes, Dick Cheney is an irrelevant rhino along with his daughter, who lost by the largest margin in the history of congressional races. They couldn't get Scooter Libby, who did so much for them but was so unfairly treated, pardoned. I did it. He's the king of endless, nonsensical wars, wasting lives and trillions of dollars, just like Comrade Kamala Harris. I am the peace president, and only I will stop World War III. What Liz Cheney did with the Unselect Committee of Political Losers is unthinkable. She and her unselects deleted and destroyed all evidence and information. It's gone. Much of it proved that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for January 6th, didn't provide security. Cheney and the others should be prosecuted for what they did. But Comrade Kamala is even worse. Just think about what Donald Trump is posting right there. Let me just show you this. This is what Liz Cheney said at the Texas Tribune event, where she said that Dick Cheney would be endorsing Kamala Harris. Play this clip.
Dick Cheney, your father, a beloved figure among Democrats for many, many years. Do you, if you know who he will be supporting or who he'll be voting for, do you care to share with us who he might be voting for?
Dick Cheney will be voting for Kamala Harris.
Okay. Wow. Words I never expected to hear.
Yeah. You know, if you think about the moment that we're in, and you think about how serious this moment is. You know, my dad believes, and he's said publicly, that there's never been an individual in our country who is as grave a threat to our democracy as Donald Trump is. And that's the moment that we're facing. And so I think recognizing that, and let me also say, you know, obviously Vice President Harris and I have had and have policy disagreements on some issues, but I have been really impressed watching, for example, the Democratic convention, listening to her speech at that convention, learning about her life story, learning about, you know, the story of her success and the extent to which it's an American story. And I think we all have to walk ourselves back from this abyss that we've looked over in our politics and work together to build a better future for this country.
I'll show you Dick Cheney's statement in just a moment, but take a look at what Donald Trump's also previously posted recently. He posted this image from a QAnon account where it says January 6th will go down in history as the day the government staged a riot to cover up the fact that they certified a fraudulent election. Donald Trump spreading more disinformation there, and the lies are just so internally inconsistent. So I'm just trying to get this straight. So Nancy Pelosi was responsible for the insurrection, but also the insurrection was a staged FBI event, and the January 6th committees, an unselect committee that deleted all of the information, but I could just very easily Google it. I mean, it's archived. You know, it's the MAGA Republicans removed it from the official congressional site, so it had to be archived, but like It's public. Like, you watching this can search and get the January 6th committee records in a 10-second Google search, but don't let the lies get in the way of, or rather, don't let the facts get in the way of Donald Trump continuing to lie over and over again. Here's the statement from Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney writes the following: in our nation's 248-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He can never be trusted with power again. As citizens, we each have a duty to put country above partisanship to defend our Constitution. That is why I will be casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. As Ron Filipkowski says, when you call Dick Cheney a rhino, then that term has simply lost all meaning. It now just means someone who disagrees with Trump. It's not a party anymore. The Republicans, the MAGAs, are a cult of personality that demand total loyalty to one man. And look, I'm seeing some good signs across the country right now. I mean, if you take a look at 538's averages of polls, Vice President Kamala Harris leads by 3.1, as Tom Bonnier and Simon Rosenberg like to remind us. Vice President Kamala Harris's national lead right now is the same lead Trump had when everyone was calling on Biden to get out, the identical number there. But take a look at some of this data as well, for example. And Tom Bonnier does a really good job going through some of the partisan registration. And so Tom Bonnier goes, look, in Texas, there is a Harris effect. In 2020, during the 15th week out from election, the modeled partisanship of new registrants was plus 16 GOP. During the same week this year, they were plus 10 Democrat in Texas. Think about that. In terms of age, the 2024 week 15 new registrants in Texas were much younger, with 46% under 30 as compared to 39% in 2020. But Tom Bonnier's not done with the data right there. He goes, we now have a voter file update for 38 states that cover the week of July 21st, affording us an opportunity to quantify the reaction of the electorate to Vice President Kamala Harris as the nominee. First, looking at partisanship, we use the modeled party ID because not all states allow voters to register with a party. The results are stark. The 2020 new registration was plus 3 GOP. As Harris took over the ticket, new registrants were plus 22 Democrat. Think about those stats, folks. So
I have to tell you about this game-changing product I use before a night out with drinks. It's called pre-alcohol. Let's face it, after a night of drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I used to feel like I had to make a choice. I could either have a great night or a great next day. But now I don't have to choose, thanks to pre-alcohol. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's actually this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your next rough day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day. Even after a night out, I can confidently plan on getting up early for a workout or handling a busy work day without worry. I won't lie, I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol at first, but then while hanging out with some friends at a rooftop bar, I gave it a shot. I had my first pre-alcohol before my go-to margarita, and the next morning, I felt amazing, just like my normal self, ready to take on the day. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype, and with their GMO technology, ZBiotics is working on more products to address other toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use the code Meidas at checkout. That's MEIDAS. ZBiotics is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use that code Meidas, MEIDAS at checkout for 15% off.
let's also talk about what Donald Trump was doing yesterday. He spoke in Charlotte And then earlier in the day, he held some bizarre press conference. And in the press conference he held earlier, he said that he was upset at his lawyers. Here, play this clip.
And I'm disappointed in my legal talent, I'll be honest with you. They're good. They're good people. They're talented people. Today at the trial, they didn't mention the dress. So the Monica Lewinsky type dress was a big part of the trial. Big part of the trial. I said, why didn't you mention that? And I heard there was a dress involved.
He also ranted and raved about and defamed further E.G. and Carroll. Play this clip.
I wanted to show up to the trial, to the first trial. My lawyer, who's not up here, not with us any longer. Sir, you should not show up. You're the former president or the president. I don't even know when the trial was, but you're the president of the United States, sir. This is beneath you. I've got this 100%. The dress is negative, but he wasn't able to use it. Sir, it's beneath you to show up. I said, but wouldn't that be bad for a jury? Wouldn't that be sort of bad for a jury if I don't show up? He said, sir, you don't have to show up. I've got this. You shouldn't do it. It's beneath you. It's beneath the office of the president. I understood what he meant by that. And so I didn't show up. And I was found guilty.
And then he went to Charlotte, where he mocked Nancy Pelosi's husband for almost getting killed in an attempted murder. Play this clip.
Force anarchy on the American people while they live in safety, in many cases behind walls. You know that. Nancy Pelosi has a big wall wrapped around her house. Of course, it didn't help too much with the problem she had, did it? But she had a big wall wrapped around her house. But then she says, we don't want to, you have no idea what it was.
He also ranted and raved about saying he doesn't like to say Democratic. He likes to say Democrat. Play the clip.
It is true, though. I mean, she got no votes, and now she's running, so she explained that one. It's not the Democratic way. It's not a Democrat. You know, I never call it, they call it the Democratic Party because it sounds so nice. I call it the Democrat Party. It's actually the Democrat Party. They ought to change the name. They're always arguing that. I always call it, it's called Democrat Party. Democratic sounds so beautiful, the Democratic Party. It's even nicer in a speech. But they ought to change the name instead of complaining.
Compare that to what President Biden had to say yesterday. Play this clip.
I mean, I wonder whether he has any notion what a hard day's work is. I mean, all he did was lose his father's money. And then get in trouble and have to owe a lot of other people money. And then borrow a lot of money and give tax cuts to the super wealthy and end up with the largest debt any president's left behind in 4 years. He has an incredible record. An incredible record.
And finally, I want to share with you, you may have seen this one already, so apologies if you did, but it's a good video. A video we've made at the MeidasTouch Network. We used AI. I want to give you the disclaimer again. We used AI to show what Donald Trump really means with his projection and confession as compared to what he's saying. And I think we do a really good job. Again, I give you the disclaimer that this has AI to show you how his projection works. So I just want to make sure that that's very clear before I show this to you. Let me show you the short that we made. Play it.
I was the worst president in the history of our country. I am showing every day that I hate democracy. I lie, I cheat, I make up fake stories. I'm a hater, and I hate at levels that are rarely seen before.
Are you a weak person? So weak that your inadequacies are bringing you down? Put all your loathsome qualities somewhere else with the leading brand in self-deception. Trump projection. Just take one of those distasteful truths about yourself.
I am unfit to lead.
And project it somewhere else.
Kamala Harris is unfit to lead.
With Trump projection, it's easier than ever to turn your shame.
I'm bringing drugs. I'm bringing crime. I'm a rapist.
Into blame.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Trump projection's patented I'm rubber, you're glue technology can take even the deepest insecurities and redirect them anywhere to ensure striking and dependable projection that protects your fragile little ego. So when you're thinking this,
I want to weaponize the FBI, the DOJ. That's got to be my form of shading.
try Trump projection and flip it to this.
The Democrats want to weaponize the FBI, the DOJ. That's got to be their form of shading.
See the difference? And it's shame resistant and accountability proved. So start your journey of ego defense today with Trump projection, the key to a spotless self-image. So you can be sure you're doing this
She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
instead of this.
I'm not a good debater. I'm not a smart person. And I don't want to debate. I'm going to destroy our country.
Trump projection. Because who needs reality when you have your own?
And the Sharper Image is the only store where you can buy it.
Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. I want to try to get to 4 million subscribers before the election. Thanks so much.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.